and welcome to Today in History for December the 21st. I'm Michael Powell. There were a lot of interesting facts that could have been used for this video for Today in History, but one that seemed to stand out the most was the Pan Am flight being blown up over Scotland. On December 21st, 1988, Pan Am Flight 103 from London to New York exploded in midair over Lockerbie, Scotland, killing all 243 passengers and 16 crew members, as well as 11 Lockerbie residents on the ground. A bomb hidden inside an audio cassette detonated in the cargo area when the plane was at an altitude of 31,000 feet. The disaster, which became the subject of Britain's largest criminal investigation, was believed to be an attack against the United States. 189 of the victims were American. Islamic terrorists were accused of planting the bomb on the plane while it was in the airport at Frankfurt, Germany. Authorities suspected the attack was in retaliation for either the 1986 U.S. airstrikes against Libya, in which leader Muammar Gaddafi's young daughter was killed, or a 1988 incident in which the U.S. mistakenly shot down an Iran Air commercial flight over the Persian Gulf, killing 290 people. 16 days before the explosion over Lockerbie, the U.S. Embassy in Helsinki, Finland, received a call warning that a bomb would be placed on a Pan Am flight out of Frankfurt. There is controversy over how seriously the U.S. took the threat and whether travelers should have been alerted, but officials later said that the connection between the call and the bomb was coincidental. In 1991, following a joint investigation by British authorities and the FBI, 3 Libyan intelligence agents were indicted for murder. However, Libya refused to hand over the suspects to the U.S. But finally, in 1999, in an effort to ease United Nations sanctions against his country, Gaddafi agreed to turn over the 2 men in Scotland for trial in the Netherlands using Scottish law and prosecutors. In early 2001, one of them, al-Maghari, was convicted and sentenced to life in prison, and another, Fihmi, was acquitted. Over the U.S. government's objections, al-Maghari was freed and returned to Libya in August of 2009 after doctors determined he had only months to live. In December 2020, reports surfaced that the U.S. Justice Department would unseal criminal charges against another suspect in the bombing. In 2003, Libya accepted responsibility for the bombing, but didn't express any remorse. The UN and the U.S. lifted sanctions against Libya, and Libya agreed to pay each victim's family approximately $8 million each in restitution. In 2004, Libya's prime minister said the deal was the price of peace, implying that his country only took responsibility to get the sanctions lifted, a statement that infuriated many of the victims' families. Pan Am Airlines, which went bankrupt 3 years after the bombing, sued Libya and later received a $30 million settlement. That was a lot of information, and information that I wasn't fully aware of, although I do remember the incident taking place. For today, December 21st, that was our day in history. Check with us again tomorrow. I hope these videos are somewhat entertaining for you, and please check back tomorrow to see what happens in that day in history.